I am so excited about today's program, and those who are presenting today, those who are part of the DDS CCH program, know that CCH is near and dear to my heart. I want to let everyone know that today's forum will be recorded, and for if you know someone who wanted to attend or would like to listen to today's forum and was not able to be here this afternoon, we will post it on our website. So if you look at the homepage of our website, you'll see a list of pages, and at the bottom is Fourth Tuesday Forums, and it has all of the recordings to all of the forums that we've held. It's been over a year and a half now that we've been hosting these forums, and each month we have a different topic, and we delve into what the option is, how it's offered. We have speakers from DDS. We have providers that talk about how they provide the option. But most importantly, we have individuals and family members that talk about how they've utilized that particular option and what it's meant for them in their lives. And so today is no exception. We have a great list of presenters today that are going to talk a little bit about community companion homes, also known as CCH, and how CCH can work for a variety of individuals. When I think of community companion homes and I think of families, I think there are just as many options as there are kind of family situations. And so it's a very, very exciting, flexible option for people. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tom Marinak, CCH manager for the North Region, who will give you an overview on community companion homes. Welcome, Tom.
Hey, well, thanks, Elisa. I appreciate it. So again, my name is Tom Marinak, and I'm hoping my camera doesn't freeze and in a bad position. So hopefully it'll be all smooth. So yeah, my name is Tom Marinak, and I have been with DDS in the Community Companion Home Program for just a little over 8 years. And in that experience, it's been super positive, meeting all the different families and all the individuals that are part of these community companion homes. And hopefully, I'm going to go through a quick overview because I'm sure that you want to actually meet the folks that actually are doing the work day to day, okay? So I'm going to just minimize my camera just so it doesn't lock up as I'm presenting these few slides I have. So I'm just going to share my screen. So hold on one second. Okay, is that coming through? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, it is. We can see it.
Fantastic. So let me minimize this real quick. So again, welcome to the program called Community Companion Homes. So a lot of folks ask, when I'm out in the communities and talking with different folks, like what actually is a community companion home? And the easiest explanation that I can give is that it's very similar to DCF's form of foster care. But the big difference is that in DCF foster care, it's not a voluntary program. Like a lot of times there's an emergency where the child needs to be removed from the home and they move in with a licensed home. The difference is with this, which is really great about CCH, is a lot of times folks are getting older. They've been living with mom and dad for a long period of time. Mom and dad are wondering, hey, they want the individual wants some independence. They maybe don't want to live with mom and dad on a day-to-day basis. So that's where community companion homes come in. Different folks get licensed of all ethnicities, races, genders, home, composition, and they go through rigorous trainings and background checks and all that stuff to become a home for a person that's with DDS. The key is it has to be voluntary. So the DDS person has to want to live with the CCH licensee, and the CCH licensee has to be willing to take that person in their home as well. So it's a voluntary program. So you might be saying, well, Tom, what training do you have to become a CCH licensee? Well, we do all the normal CPR first aid. They learn the DDS's, mission and vision. They go through other abuse and neglect training. They sometimes get specialized training depending on the person who's moving into their home. They get a nurse's training. They go through significant background checks for anybody that's living in the home, abuse and neglect registry check. So that way we try to make sure that the licensee has all the tools necessary to become as successful. Because listen, we're only successful if our CCH licensees are successful. So we want to make sure that they have all the information possible so they can be as successful as possible when they start the matching process with the DDS individual. So what are some responsibilities of the CCH licensee? Well, they first of all, they are with the person when they say the person goes to a day program, they come home, they help make dinner with the person, they help them get to doctor's appointments, they maybe help with some financial oversight. So any money the person spends over $20, they keep a receipt. They try to help with the support of the team to help them get out into the community and to feel like a valued member of the community. And pretty much, I mean, the way it's best described to me is it's just like being part of a family. And that's one thing I love about CCH as opposed to, like, say, a DCF foster care, is that a lot of times kids over 18 or 21 leave their DCF home. But in CCH world, if you've only been with a person for maybe 10 years, that's kind of like a newbie. So I was shocked when I came into this program. Have been with some of they've been in the same house for 30 years, which is crazy. They really do become part of the family, which I'm sure you're going to hear with some of the presenters later. And it's really just a super positive. I feel really blessed to be part of this program because you see folks thrive and have a good life, and they still maintain their relationships with their biological families if they're around. And it's just super. It's just a great program. So how do we do the matching process? Well, a lot of times after the CCH licensee gets licensed, they start receiving packets. So a lot of times what you hear from case management later on in the presentation, they might have a person they think, hey, this person would be great for a CCH because they're ready to move out of mom and dad's house. They're looking for some autonomy, but they still need a little support. Okay. So what would happen is we get a packet which just shows like their previous, IP, their individual plan. Maybe some things they're looking for, like they don't do well with pets. They're looking for a home that doesn't have other kids. They want to have their own bedroom. They're looking, say, in this particular town because they want to stay in their day program or stay close to home. And then, so we send those packets out to the licensees that fit that description. And which is nice is we do a home study for the licensees, which goes through their history and things they like to do for fun, and things that are in their community, places to go, activities they like to partake in. And we let the prospective DDS individual who's looking to know all about the home that they're matching up with. So they have a choice who's saying, because we don't want to match a person who says, I like to be a homebody and watch, a TV show after a day program, with a person who loves to go out and, an hour-long hike every day after work. So we want to make sure that the interests of the person moving in as well as the licensee, they share similar interests and have similar outlooks. And which is nice is we a lot of times, in case there is an emergency, we have some folks where, like, there was a medical emergency with the biological family and they needed placement. But under ideal circumstances, when we're matching a person where they're looking to kind of test the waters on a mom and dad's home, we do overnights. We might start with just a day visit. They could see the licensee's home, check out the bedroom, maybe stay for a cup of coffee, and then, hey, maybe we'll try an overnight. Maybe we'll try a weekend. It's not this super rush to just get the person placed as quickly as possible. We really try to make sure it's and as you'll hear later on from the other speakers, where they talk about how we really try to make sure it's a good match when we're matching the folks with the licensees. So real quick, this is the last slide, then you'll get into the people you really want to hear from. Who comprises the CCH team? So first of all, we have the licensee. We have the person's biological family or relatives that come to all the meetings, and they're the experts on their person. So we want to make sure that they have a big say in what happens. We have the CCH case manager, which we have one of those available that's going to be talking a little later. We have a nurse that the licensee can reach out to if they have any questions or concerns about medical issues. We have a behaviorist. So if a person has psychotropic medication or just they're getting settled into the home and they're a little depressed because they're a little sad, missing mom and dad, we have a behaviorist that's available that can help give the licensee some tips on how to like work with this individual. And then we also have a monthly technical assistant, and that person, what they do is they go out, first of all, they license the home. And then after that, they go out every month, they check smoke detectors, they check, the person's entitlements, they track activities maybe they went on, they they record any like medical appointments, the person, dental appointments, they ask like, hey, did you guys go out and do any fun activities? All that information is kind of tracked, make sure their bank accounts match their pay, all that kind of stuff. They do that to make sure that every year we actually have a very strict standard where group homes maybe get licensed every 3 years. We have an annual inspection from our licensing unit that are super thorough. They're always going to find something, which is great. They're always looking to make sure that we have the best possible scenario for the folks that move into our homes. So I actually welcome them citing different things like, oh, geez, I saw you didn't record this one, you didn't have a receipt for this one $20 purchase or whatever. It's great. Oh, you were a little late on that doctor's appointment. We want to make sure that our CCH licensees are successful, the DDS individual is successful, and we want to make sure that everybody who compromises the team is successful. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, how CCH works. So I guess I'll turn it back over to Elisa, whom she's going to introduce the next person.
All right, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much, Tom. I appreciate it. I do, as Kyle is queuing up the video, we're going to talk about, we're going to share with you, we have a series of videos that we've created around different options that are available through STEP. And we're going to share right now the CCH video. I do want to know if you have questions, we do have a number of presenters. There is that little thought bubble button. You can feel free to write your question in the chat. We will hold the questions to the end because we want to make sure we get through all the presentations. But if you don't want to forget the question, you can note it in the chat or at the end after we've had our presentations. We'll open it up to question and answer. But now Kyle is going to start the CCH video.
Yeah, Kyle, I don't think we're getting audio.
We can't, we don't have audio yet, Kyle.
Stand by real quick.
Care of herself.
If you could just start it over, that'd be great.
Susie is
Can you hear it now or no?
shy, very
We can't.
personable, kind, very sweet girl. Susie has been here 10 years. She can take care of herself better than she did when she came in. She has a lot of different skills now. It's a joy to have her in my home.
When I was growing up, I didn't really have the family feel. I feel like if I had this family.
The mission of the Connecticut Department of Developmental Services is to partner with individuals and their families to create meaningful opportunities for individuals to fully participate as valued members of their communities.
Susie has developed so many different skills. She's learning how to cook. She's adapting well.
We do a lot of things together, like will we go shopping, will we go out will we go to the movies, will we go after dinner, we'll go to our family's house sometimes.
When circumstances make it impractical for a person to live at home, a licensed community companion home is a great option because it offers a family setting for folks with intellectual disabilities. A lot of times parents are a little nervous about like, how can this caregiver take care of my son or daughter? Like, do they have the same skills? We give significant training, we do background checks, we have a psychologist involved, we have a behaviorist involved, we have a case manager, as well as a technical assistant to help with any issues that might come up in the home.
Go into the homes first before you decide to put a child into the home and see how that home is being run. Let your child come over for a weekend and just start like that.
When I first came here, I was a little nervous, and then once she really got used to me. I got used to her. I found out that she was she's a nice lady, and she really treats me like she's like my own daughter.
She's family. I have family that loves Susie as if she was biological. My children calls her my sister. Susie celebrates birthdays here with my family in the backyard. We have big parties for her. We have cookouts, and all the family is here for support.
Parents, when they're raising their child, they've been doing that work their whole lives. And now when they see their child thriving in a community companion home, it gives them a chance to do things they wanted to do, or go out and experience different things, but still knowing that their son or daughter is being taken care of. And that's what every parent wants.
My name is Minnie Carolyn James. I am a CCH provider for the state of Connecticut, the Department of Developmental Services.
I am Susie. I'm from Connecticut, and I love Minnie.
The Connecticut Department of Developmental Services offers a variety of support to help individuals live as independently as possible in places where they can use their personal strengths, talents, and passion. Visit our website to learn more.
Sometimes they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I can watch that again and again. And I think Susie and Minnie just really give a great description of what their life is together and how that matches work for them. And we'll hear from others today. So now I'd like to turn it over to Erin Langford. Erin's been involved in CCH for quite a while and can speak about how, as a provider, she and her team work to support people as they transition into CCH. Welcome, Erin.
Thanks, Elisa. Hi, everyone. As Elisa said, I'm Erin Langford. I work for Community Residences Incorporated. I am the CCH director. CRI has been involved with community companion homes for probably at least 25 years. So, as Tom mentioned earlier, we do have some experience with those families who absolutely have had the same person living with them for all of that time and who have become family. I can remember when this used to be called the CTH program, Community Training Homes. And, really, I think moving the name to really more accurately reflect what it is that this program does. You'll hear it over and over again: family, family, family. I mean, that's exactly what this is. The relationships and bonds that we get to experience when we're in the homes with the people that we're working with. There's really nothing that sort of beats that. Our team here, we do have the privilege of having homes in all three regions with the state, both the north and the south as well as the west. And we're pretty evenly spread throughout the state. Our team does have what we refer to as a social worker. That's sort of the names for that position, I think, vary from agency to agency. But really what it is, it's sort of a person who's responsible for case management. Their responsibility is they're in the home on a monthly basis, visiting with the individual or individuals that live in those homes. They are working with the CCH licensee to make sure everything's happening the way it should be. We're supporting the home, we're supporting the individuals, we're looking at medical, financial, the environmental things that are going on. We do also have, our agency is very lucky because of the size of the program that we do have, to have 2 full-time RNs as well as a full-time behaviorist to help support our people. So while, initially we have our social worker going into the home on a monthly basis, we also, as needed, have nursing as well as behaviorists who also go in to support the home as necessary. There could be something going on in one of those areas that requires a little bit of additional support over and above what the social worker might give. So we provide that. Typically speaking, it is monthly unless, there is something going on. Upon our admission, if we do admit someone into a home, we usually have weekly visits that first month or two, just to sort of help the individual acclimate. It is a new, setting. We do try to do multiple transition visits as well as an overnight. There may be a visit for dinner, a weekend visit, something to allow the individual and the CCH licensee to get to know each other, see if it could be a good fit. And then, you know, we deal with the honeymoon period, sometimes the things that come up, because it is a process. It's a completely different setting. For people, they're used to what they're used to, especially someone who's lived in a family home for 30, 40, 50 years. It's expected that this is going to be something that requires some hands-on, support from the agency, support from other people. We try to work very closely with day programs as well, so that we can sort of have this holistic approach. We're all looking at things. We want the best for the individual. As far as our matching process, we do look at the referrals that are sent out from the state. We're constantly looking for individuals in the community who want to be licensed, working with them to train them in the event that a good match does come up. We look at the makeup of the home, particularly if a home has another individual or individuals already living in it. We're particularly careful when we're matching because we don't want it to be disruptive to the people who are already living there. So we do try to be cautious in certain cases. But we're looking at everything, and those visits really do give us an indicator of whether something may or may not work. I think it might have been Tom who said we try to be as proactive as possible with this process. Unfortunately, there are those times where there is an emergency and we do move someone into a home with a little bit less upfront than we would like to see. But it's surprising to me how many occasions those placements actually do work out. We have a number of placements who started out as emergencies and they are thriving many, many years later. The relationships with the individuals that live in the home and the CCH provider and their families are great, but there's also the relationships between CCH individuals. We have a number of CCH individuals who've lived together so long that they're like family as well. And they get to interact with their housemates' family and friends as well. It really is a great program, and I can't say that enough. I have been involved with this program probably on and off for about 10 years. I think it's the favorite job I've ever had, if I could say that. It's a wonderful program. Everybody that works with, the individuals that we work with, from our CCH providers to, the regional management, to the case managers, and our internal team, it really is nice to see how much people really want individuals to succeed in this setting, because not everyone needs a group home and not everyone's ready for an apartment setting, but they may not be able to stay where they were. So supporting that, if for some reason we do have someone who has to give up a CCH license due to age, or a CCH provider that might unfortunately pass away, we do our best as an agency, and I know other agencies do this as well, to try to keep the individual within our program so that there is still some consistency. Sometimes we're able to do that. We don't want the disruption of a whole team as well as the home environment if possible, which does unfortunately happen sometimes. But we do try very hard to try to continue to support the individual in one of our homes so that they can have that level of consistency and care. And that's probably all I have, unless there's something you guys want me to add, but it's a great program. That's all I think, continue to say. It really is.
Thanks so much, Erin. I think that was a
Sure.
great description. And we have some questions that are coming in. We'll hold them to the end, but I really appreciate your experience and kind of the way that you described what CCH can be. You really gave a great kind of overview as far as how it can work for different people. But as great as that was, how about hearing directly from someone who provides CCH support and individuals that are living with her? Karen, is everyone together? Okay, you're on mute, so you have to unmute. I would love to introduce Karen, Joe, and Lewis that are going to talk a little bit about their household and how CCH works for them. Welcome.
And my husband Herb is here too.
Herb is there. Hello, Herb. Welcome.
All right.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Elise Pearson. I'm a resource compliance coordinator in the West region, and I support Karen's home. And I always love going out to this home. You can always feel the warmth when you walk in, and the family is always around. And I mean, grandchildren, children, nieces, nephews, they're all there. So we very much see the family setting in this home. I first love and appreciate about this home that each individual has their own space or has their own things in this home, which allows them to feel part of. I see Joe reclining in his chair, and Lewis also has his own chair, right, Lewis?
Right on. And me, I play music and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna be my 4th year coming up.
That's amazing, Lewis. I'm so glad to hear that. I also heard, Lewis, that there's a special thing that you love about Karen's house as well, your home, and that's something that you guys do special every day. You guys do something very special together. Can you guess what I'm thinking about?
Well, oh yeah.
It has to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I enjoy Karen very, very much. She does a very wonderful job, and she's got 8,200, 1,244,000, 8,200 trillion%.
I love that. I love that.
I like to joke around. I like to, make everybody laugh, tell jokes and everything, and I also like to play. Now, I got a birthday coming in another 2 weeks from today.
I'm excited about your birthday, and birthdays are big at this house because you guys get together, you have parties. Joe just had the opportunity. Go ahead, Karen, let you take it away.
Yeah, Joe had his 80th birthday party out in the yard. We had, I don't know, 60 or 70 people here, I think, and Mickey Mouse joined us. So Mickey is Joe's favorite. So he came to the party.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a nice party on a Sunday, 2 days for my birthday. It'll be on the 5th of November, and we're gonna make it like high heaven. And whoever comes, I'm gonna play the music for them.
I'm excited for that, Lewis. I also heard that one of your favorite things about this home is that you guys enjoy eating meals together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah, nice breakfast and lunch and supper or dinner, whatever you can call it, And I also enjoyed watching Judge Judy, Dr. Phil. I've been doing exercises. Like I do part 1, when I get home, and then do the bike part 2 after supper.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you're sharing.
He's had some physical therapy, so he's been continuing on with all his exercises and doing very well with them.
That's amazing. And I think I know one big part of this discussion is about aging in place and in having the opportunity to age in the CCH. And why I chose this home specifically when it came to me was because Karen shared a beautiful story with me. If you don't mind sharing, Miss Karen, your experience as a CCH licensee in the aging process.
Well, we've been part of the program for over 30 years now, and through those years, we've had 4 individuals who have come to us and lived there to the end of their lives with us. So it's been quite an experience. They've stayed in the house until their final days, and I don't know, it's been a wonderful experience for our whole family, for our children, our grandchildren. I can't even begin to describe how it's affected our children, our grandchildren, their friends, everyone that comes in. It's a wonderful experience for, I think, everyone involved.
Mhm. And I think that Karen has done a wonderful, perfect job, and I appreciate what Karen does and everything. And it's going to be my 4th year in 2024, and once in a great while we'll go out to eat, and then like once a week or something, and also I also enjoyed the nice going to doctor visits. I love that doctor. When I met that Dr. Velardo, she is such a great doctor. And I went to yeah.
That's great, Louis. One thing I also want to touch on is Karen's home is very user-friendly, if you will. Louis is blind, and I hope you don't mind me sharing that, Louis. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because any adjustments that are needed in the home, Karen and her family have really gone above and beyond to make those adaptive changes in their home, whether it's adding those grab bars in the bathroom, having a stair glide for a previous individual who needed it to access the upstairs of the home, having a ramp in the home if that's needed. They've made those accommodations in their home, and they really make it accessible for each person that's living in the home. So I just wanted to touch on that as well. But I do appreciate you guys sharing your story and taking the time to share with us. And I think that concludes the presentation for the Brooks.
How about Joe?
Yeah.
Joe, sorry. Joe, I didn't know if he was snoozing back there. I saw he got excited and perked up. I do want to share that Joe has a very active life, although he's at leisure right now, and that's probably why he's resting. But Joe has a big responsibility in the house. Joe, what's your responsibility?
What do you do, Joe?
Joe,
Who do you feed?
chicken. Billy Ghost, the Brat, Marty, couple, and animal.
Joe has a volunteer opportunity on Saturdays, and he gets to take some of the bread back from where he volunteers, and he enjoys sharing that with the chickens on his days, on his Saturdays. But he's very helpful with the animals regardless. Joe, is there anything else you wanted to share?
You want to say anything else, Joe?
I did. I said, yeah, I don't feel good.
Yeah, Joe's got a cold, so he's.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on. That's
That is very true, Louis.
Like
Well,
I do like to share. I like to thank Karen for she's a wonderful person.
Okay.
Very, very good, caring, loving and caring, and she's like a mother. And every time when I go to bed to sleep, I dream about my grandmother and my mother. But if I do ever have a bad day, all I have to do is play my mother's voice and grandma's voice and make it look like they're here.
That's beautiful, Louis. Oh, that was beautiful.
Because I had a wonderful mother when she raised me, and I was born and raised, and I had a wonderful grandmother, Grandma Carnuti, that stays on my side at all times. And every time when she calls my name, it makes me laugh. Every time when she calls my name, the whistle comes out. It makes me laugh.
Thank you so much, Louis. That was so special to share. Thank you so much for that. I'm glad you have those memories, and I'm glad you get to share them with Karen, her family, and us, because that was awesome to share. Thank you so much. Well, I think that concludes
I'd like to thank you as well. What a great, you let us into your home, and what a great privilege that is, to meet all of you and to hear about the wonderful life that you've built together. So Karen and Herb, thank you so much for describing what it is to become a CCH licensee and open your home. And Joe and Louis, boy, it's nice to meet you. And Karen, you said something that a while back we did a survey of CCH licensees, and we're just asking them, about their experience. And you said something that we heard over and over again. Licensee said, this has been such a great opportunity for my family, for my kids, for my grandchildren, because they've grown. We've received as much as we've given, and to hear you say that just brought that back to me.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. And Elise, thank you so much. You can see the relationship that develops, and how well you know everyone, and what a support you are as well. So thank you.
Yes. Well, Elisa is great.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to hear from her in a little bit again, right? Okay. All right. Next, I would like to introduce Mariah. Mariah, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Okay.
My name is Mariah Meiklem.
I'll let you introduce yourself.
My name is Mariah Meiklem. I'm the CCH manager with WDLT. I'm here with Christy, who is our CCH tech. I think that Tom and Erin did a great job with describing the members of our team. We do have a CCH tech, a clinician, and a nurse as well on our team. As a supporting agency, we really pride ourselves on building that rapport with all parties involved, from our licensees, other providers during a transition period, whoever the DDS case manager is, and most importantly, the individuals and the guardians and families involved as well. We can identify that any transition is a difficult transition, and having a supporting agency in place is always there to help smooth over, ensure just the best quality of care, and make sure that every party involved is well informed. We have the privilege of working with a number of different families. Some of them have quite some tenure. They have some individuals who have been placed in their home for 10 plus years now. And we make sure that we always host ongoing training, ongoing support, and we ensure just their quality of care. As a supporting agency, we also ensure that any opportunities that are given within the community that we play a part of, from helping the individuals, whether that be with getting a new job, seeking new day programs and placement, much like Erin said, and we assist with licensing. So I know Tom did explain that the licensing process can be a tedious one. So we just make sure that the providers' trainings, all their information, and everything that is required is up to date. So they never feel alone throughout the entire process. And I know everybody Erin, I know at CRI gave a lot of information on like the ins and outs of what we do. But as everybody else said, working with CCH, working with our team members, and partnering with DDS has really been such a pleasure. I've only been a part of the program for about 2 years now. And this kind of living arrangement really is such a fulfilling one. I mean, even hearing from the Brooks family, being able to see that these individuals are placed in some very loving, very familiar settings just helps that transition going from living in their homes with their families to going into this kind of living arrangement. Just makes that adjustment a little bit easier on everybody involved. More often than not, parents or guardians are looking for additional questions. They're looking for additional information. They're looking for just a personalized transition, and we ensure that, as well as a supporting agency, that anybody who is involved is just comfortable or always well informed. And I've really, most of my talking points kind of got touched on, but I am open to answering any questions that anyone may have about the process.
Awesome. Thank you, Mariah. And we do have some questions coming in, so if you can stick around, that would be great. And you mentioned case management, which was a perfect transition to our next presenter. I would like to introduce Nicole, who is a CCH case manager. And Nicole's going to talk a little bit about what her role is as a support, as a CCH case manager. So welcome, Nicole.
Hello, everybody. Nicole Van Dyke. I'm a case manager in the CCH program in Waterbury, and I'm so grateful to be given this opportunity today to speak. As well as I am so grateful to be a case manager to all of the individuals that I support in the CCH program. And I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. And, I am there as the voice and to work and to form a partnership with the individuals that are on my caseload. And that's truly what it is, helping them to find their voice and to find, what they need in this process through CCH. It really is truly a matching process. And, what is it that they're looking for in the CCH program? It has to be a two-way street. If they're looking for, what type of individual they're looking to live with, where they're looking to live. And it has to be a match all the way around, just a partnership with that family home, with the individual, with the environment, matching up with their day program, taking into account all that we need to look at. And there are a lot of factors that the case manager and the individual and the family have to consider. And that all comes into the process of the planning process and in their individual plan, in the goals that we develop together as a team. Looking at their strengths, their needs, their abilities, and their future, and what that individual is truly seeking and what they really want in this CCH environment. And, a lot of that is helping them define what a home looks like for them. Really, what is a home? Not just a house. Really, they need to define what a home looks like. And some of the individuals we're taking from emergency situations, and they don't know what a home looks like, or building their second home for them, in coming out of a family support. And, navigating what that looks like is a very scary step for some individuals and families, and knowing that they're still going to be connected to their loved ones, and making sure that we build in those supports. Linking them up with the activities in the community and, the recreation, their medical appointments, making sure that we are building in independent living skills and working with their providers to make sure that they're doing all of the things that they want to do, as part of their individual planning process, their day programs, taking into account all of those things, and advocating for what they need. That's the role of the case manager, being an additional voice for them, and kind of overall coordinating all of these different pieces, working with the agencies, working with the medical providers, working with the day programs, and just, coordinating all that stuff to make sure that the individual, has what they need, looking at assistive technology, making sure their home is accessible. I'm just so grateful to be able to do that for our individuals and our providers. And there's so many, great things that happens in order to make, a house a home for the individuals that we support in our department. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm really, really looking forward to hear the story from an individual on my caseload that is going to be speaking to us next. So I'm just going to kind of segue into that. And I really look forward to hearing this beautiful story from the woman that we're going to hear from next.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Yeah, I think we've had some amazing presentations today, but we're building up to our final presentation, and I'm excited too. So I'll turn it back over to Elise, who's going to introduce us to our next presenter.
Hi again, everyone. We have Laticisha, who is going to be presenting with us. And again, focusing on the topic of today with CCH and aging. Laticisha is a young lady in her 40s. I hope you don't mind me sharing that, Laticisha. And when you're ready, just go ahead and turn your mic on. And I just wanted to share Laticisha's experience living in a CCH and her level of independence living in a CCH first and foremost. I think there's a great level of respect. Her team has been very supportive and has provided a lot of assessments to ensure that she's capable of doing things such as taking the bus, maintaining relationships, having community involvement. So Laticisha, just whenever you're ready, go ahead and turn your mic on. It's still off. And then you can jump in and let us know about all the free things you get to do. Hey,
Hi,
Laticisha.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My name is Laticisha Tucker. I go out in the community. I'm very active. I've been living with my mom for 19 years. I have a good relationship. We sit down together, eat as a family. We go out shopping and everything. We go on vacation, take trips as a family.
Yeah.
We do like I do like I'm very I'm saying what I'm trying to say is I'm very active. I do like a lot of arts and crafts. I go to the gym to work out. I do a lot of walking, and I would like to make my life be stronger and better every day.
That's right, Laticisha. So one good thing about Laticisha was during the pandemic, I think it was maybe a little bit before the pandemic. I wasn't a part of the team yet, but Laticisha, there was a time where you were a part of a day program, but you kind of switched over a little bit and got an individualized program, and you have your support staff, Anna, correct?
Yes.
So that kind of helps with a lot of your community involvement and starting your own, you're interested in doing your arts and crafts and things of that nature. Can you speak a little bit about what you guys do in your time together?
Sure. I do like I make my own bracelets. I make bracelets. I make collage. I'm I'm making a scarf.
You're learning how to knit.
I'm learning how to crochet, making the scarf.
Awesome.
What else? Like I said, I go to the gym with her. I do Special Olympic. I do sport. Matter of fact, I got practice tonight for I'm doing volley. I do a lot of sports.
Awesome. I was just gonna ask about that.
I just got finished with softball. Now I'm doing volleyball.
You are great. I don't even need to be here. You're taking it away. Awesome, Laticisha. You're doing such a great job. And also about your relationships, going to dances and things of that nature. Talk about a little bit about your community involvement in that area, if you don't mind.
Oh, she's talking about.
No, she's talking about the things that you do, like we go to Big E. We have
oh yeah.
Surf or whatever.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. We like this year. Some years couple years. Sometime we go to the Big E. We go family trips and stuff, and go to the movies. What else? Six Flags.
Yeah.
Six Flags, like amusement parks and stuff like that. What else?
We have family cookout.
We have family cookout in my backyard. We do karaoke. Not finished. We do a lot of picnics in my backyard. We do and besides that, I get along very well with the two brothers.
Yes. You just welcomed 2 new housemates. They've been there for a year, so that was a transition. You were the lady of the house, and now you are getting them acclimated. So that's been awesome, huh?
But check this out. I claim it as my brother. My brothers.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Laticisha. You guys are truly a family over there. I love.
But when my mom goes out, we go out as a family. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Go out together. I'm just like her, her pocketbook. when she go out, we like, I like to, no, like, I'm just being honest. You know how some people like to shop? Okay?
Yeah.
When my mom go out, we leave one store, and then we leave that store and go to another store, leave from store to store.
Just go
And I know you like to shop till you drop, Laticia. I got that. Yes.
I love to eat.
And you love to eat. That I do know as well.
Besides that,
I do know.
I have a good appetite.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it. So, Laticia, I think that you kind of touched on everything that a woman in your age group gets to do naturally if they weren't supported in CCH, but to see that in a CCH model is beautiful. So I thank you so much for sharing and participating in this presentation. Thank you so much, Laticia.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Laticia. Thank you, Elise. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Laticia, as you were talking, I was thinking, gosh, I would like to hang out with her. All the fun things you do. You sound like you have a ton of energy. You sound like you have a lot of fun. And all of the things that you were saying were things that I thought, oh, I would enjoy that too.
And besides that, my friend, I go to Jamaica too. I go to Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and Florida.
Wow. Wow.
I go
wow.
I'm a busy woman. Most of the time I spend my time out in the streets. What I'm trying to say is I never stay home.
I can hear that. You're on the go. You sound like you have tons of energy.
And one more thing before I let you go, I write my own songs and I write my own poems. When y'all come over one day, I can share it with you.
Well, that sounds like a deal. Wow, you sound creative.
I write my own poems and I write my own songs.
That sounds awesome.
Well, I'm trying to say I'm trying to be a writer.
They are
what
the
you're
best.
saying. Yeah.
They are the best, Laticia.
So when I get off the phone, I gotta get ready for practice.
And you have volleyball practice tonight. You know, as we were getting ready for today, I heard, oh, Laticia's going to talk and she's got a lot going on. She's got a really wonderful life and you captured it just perfectly. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Besides that, what's the other girl's name? I don't know. What's your name again? The other one.
You mean Elise?
No, the other
Elisa
one.
or Elise?
Nicole.
Nicole.
Yeah. I was trying to say that and when I first came here, I was like calling her Juliet, okay? And then when a week was up, mommy. I'm trying to say is I got so attached to her. You know what I'm saying?
Good job, Laticia.
Yeah, we have a good relationship, you know?
That's awesome.
Like I'm trying to say is life is going good with me.
We're really happy for you.
And besides,
it sounds like.
Yeah, besides I'm back in church. I go to church when I feel like it, so.
That's awesome, Laticia. Thank you so much for sharing, Laticia. You touched on everything we wanted you to. Like I said, I didn't even need to be here because you stole the show. You took it away. You talked about everything so natural in your life. Thank you so much, Laticia.
You're welcome, my darling.
All right. You have a wonderful, wonderful time at volleyball.
Thank you.
And that is the end of our presentations for today. I see that we did have a question in the chat, and Jill, I see that you answered, but I'll read it out for people who might not be able to see the chat. And then Jill, if you could just kind of walk through your answer, that would be great. Rachel asks, are all CCHs directly connected to DDS agencies, like those connected with CRI? I was under the impression they were mutually exclusive. And so, Jill, do you want to talk a little bit about your response?
Sure. So DDS funds the agency to support the home, and we refer to that as the CTV rate. So that's a rate that pays for the technical assistant in the home, the nurse, the behaviorist, any support that the agency needs to provide to the home. DDS also has, sorry, I also have a cold, Tom. DDS always has a case manager involved on the team. So along with those other disciplines, the case manager is always from DDS. Sorry.
Thanks, Jill. There definitely is a lot going around.
Oh my
So,
God, so bad.
sorry to put you on the spot there. And then just, we got some thumbs up. Karen, if you're still on, Jorge mentioned he could see the dog cuddling up with Joe in the chair. And I think that speaks volumes. That's what people want to do at the end of the day, right? Kick back, relax, cuddle with their favorite furry friend. And I think I can see your home in the background, and it looks like it's just a lovely, lovely home.
Excuse me, don't mean to interrupt, but we gotta go.
Okay, take
All right.
care. Thank
All right,
you so much. I don't see any hands up, any other hands up, and I don't see any other chat messages, but I see a lot of appreciation for the stories that were shared and the presentations we had today. So I want to thank all of our presenters. Again, the recording of today's forum will be on our DDS website. Give us a couple days, usually by the end of the week, we'll have it up on the website, and feel free to share it. Thank you so much, everyone.